Let's learn how to knit from a knitting chart when knitting a flat pattern. Now, knitting in the round is a little bit different, but today I'm going to just teach you how to knit when you're knitting flat or back and forth. So the first thing you need to know is that charts are read from the bottom to the top. So this is one of the charts from my Eleonora shawl pattern, and I just wanted to use this as an example because it's a fairly simple chart to show you. So you start at the bottom where there's where you see row number 1, and you will work your way up towards the top. Though the odd numbers are your right side rows, the even numbers are your wrong side rows. So you will read this chart. This will be your stitch number 1. This will be the first stitch that you work here, and then you will work across this way, and then when you're on your wrong side, you're turning your work over, and then you will work these stitches, and then you will be on row 3 and you will work this direction, and then when you're on the wrong side, you'll work left to right. So the second thing you need to know is that each square represents a stitch, and you will work each stitch according to the symbol that it has in it. Something to note is when you have one of these patterns, one of these charts that looks kind of like a skewed triangle, this means that you are increasing stitches, which gives it this this angle. If you're not increasing any stitches in your pattern, then you're just going to see something that looks more like a square or perhaps a rectangle. Okay, now you have to familiar yourself with the key. The key chart is your very best friend because it's going to tell you what stitch to work for each square. So the blank symbol, the box that doesn't have anything in it, is a knit stitch. A dot is going to be a purl stitch. Now, the reason you see RS, right side knit, wrong side purl, that is also going to tell you how you're going to work your stitches on the wrong side. So this is your right side row. It's a blank square, so you'll knit it, okay? Then you have another blank square, you'll knit it, another blank square, you'll knit it. Then you come here, you have this little empty diamond shape, and that means you need to place your marker. So you'll place your marker there. And then you have this kind of funky Y shape. That is a make one, a left leaning make one. And that is what you will do on the right side. Then you'll have another knit stitch, and then this little V with a dot in the center is indicating that you need to slip your stitch purlwise with the yarn in front. Now you come up to the wrong side, and things are a little bit different. You see this little dot here which says, oh, you think that's a purl. No, you're actually working the reverse stitch. So you want to actually knit this stitch, knit the next stitch, and now the blank stitch on the wrong side means to purl it. Okay, and if you ever get caught up by this, I still sometimes get caught up by this, it's completely human, you have this key to refer to. Okay, then you come to this black diamond, that just means to slip your marker, and then you have another purl stitch, another knit stitch, and then you have a plain V, and it says on the wrong side, are we working the wrong side? Yes, we are. Then we need to slip our yarn purlwise with the yarn in front, or stitch rather, slip the stitch purlwise with our yarn in front. Now you'll notice that some of these in the key, you will see some symbols have instructions for the right side and the wrong side, like this knit stitch and knit purl and purl knit, and some only have one instruction. So this plain V, that means that you will only be doing this stitch on the wrong side, and you will only be working this stitch on the right side. And the same is true for this left leaning stitch. You will only be increasing for this particular chart in this particular pattern, you will only be increasing on the right side. So you don't need to know how to work that stitch on the wrong side. The way the easy way to think about this is that you're working the back side of your work on these even rows, right? Which means that you're going to be working the stitch in reverse. So if you think about a normal stockinette, working flat in stockinette, you're going to knit a row, purl a row, knit a row, purl a row. So in that case, you would have just all blank stitches, or blank squares rather, and then on the next row you would have another row of blank squares, because you're going to be working the reverse of what you worked on the first row, or on the front of your work. I hope that makes sense. Lastly, the great thing about many modern knitting patterns that include charts is that they also include written instructions. So my final tip for you is to check your work. Just like, back in the day when you were in math class and your teacher told you to check your work, check your work, check your work. This is such an easy way to do exactly that. So if you ever get caught up, and say you make it through the first few rows and then you start getting confused, you're on this wrong side row and you've got this dot here and you're like, isn't a dot, doesn't that mean to purl? But then you're just confused. Okay, this is a pretty simple example here, but perhaps you're working a more complex stitch pattern and you're starting to get confused. Okay, so then you just go down to row 3, or rather row 4, and it tells you right here, knit 2. Okay, yep, purl 2, yep, slip the marker, yep, purl 1, knit 1, slip 1 with yarn in front, and you have you have exactly what you need right here. One tip I have for reading charts is to, if you have highlighter tape, or even some sort of bookmarker that you could tape in place or tack down somehow so it doesn't slide around on you. That's why I like the highlighter tape. It's because it's sticky, but it's not too sticky. You can use it like a bookmark. The way I use this, there's different ways you can use it, but the way I use it is to mark underneath my row that I'm working, just like I would if I was reading with a bookmark. So I'm working row 1, my highlighter tape is here. I'm working row 2, my highlighter tape is here. I'm working row 3, my highlighter tape is here, and so on and so forth, all the way up the chart. But what I like about this is that it's going to stay in place and it's not going to move around until I move it. A little side note here, I fold my tape over so I have a little easy way to grab the edge, like a little tab. I make my own tab on there so that it doesn't get too stuck to the paper, especially when it's fresh off of the roll. And you can get this highlighter tape at office supply stores, and many yarn shops carry it as well. So even Amazon carries it. So it's just called highlighter tape, and it comes in different colors. Mine just happens to be blue. So if you're new to lace charts, these basics should help you feel more confident when you dive in. Don't forget swatching. It's always going to be your best friend when you're trying something new. Just practicing by swatching and using the chart will help you become comfortable before you actually dive into your bigger project. And once you have familiarized yourself with knitting from a chart, not only will your knitting become faster, but you'll also find yourself making far fewer errors because you're not, searching around for your instruction, in a long line of instructions, which in a complex pattern, the lines of instructions can get quite long. So, let me know if you are new to chart knitting and you give this a try. Please let me know how it goes in the comments. And if you are a very experienced chart knitter and you have some tips that I haven't included, I would love to hear those in the comments as well. I would love, love, love for you to give this a try, because chart knitting, I don't know, personally anyway, has really transformed my own knitting practice and has just made it it's given me the confidence, it gave me the confidence to try knitting patterns that I never thought that I could handle. And it also makes it so that I can still, perhaps listen to an audiobook or watch a Netflix, watch a show on Netflix at night with my husband and still be able to do fairly complex patterns while doing these other things. So I hope this has been helpful, and yeah, good luck.